The Vgan slaver ships descended on the Saturn colony like a swarm of locusts, their weapons slicing through the habitat domes. Jerry Green's parents shielded him with their own bodies, but in the chaos, a Vgan trooper snatched the terrified 8-year-old boy and carried him back to their waiting ships. News spreads. News of the kidnapping spread like wildfire back on Earth. A human child, kidnapped by an alien race thought to be allies, sparked outrage. By the time the Earth Defense Force, EDF, intercepted the distress calls, the Vgans had already flown into deep space with young Jerry as their prisoner. Earth's outrage. Outrage gripped Earth. How dare these two-faced aliens betray humanity's trust and steal an innocent boy from his family? Within hours, the EDF declared a state of total war against the Vgan Empire. Trillions around the globe cried out for blood and vengeance. General Anderson's plan. General Robert Anderson met with Earth's Leadership Council and laid out an audacious plan. Assemble the largest space fleet in human history and pursue the Vgans to the ends of the universe if need be. An overwhelming show of force was required to get Jerry back safely and deliver retribution to his kidnappers. The Council agreed. Fleet assembly. Across the solar system, secret orbital shipyards roared to life. Thousands of massive EDF supercarriers, hidden from public view during construction, were brought to full operational readiness. Each supercarrier, dwarfing anything the Vgans could field, carried thousands of advanced fighter craft, bombers, tanks, artillery pieces, and millions of EDF troops. The pursuit begins. Within a week, over 800,000 supercarriers rendezvoused in Earth orbit, casting vast shadows across the planet's surface. With the ships stocked and troops mustered, General Anderson gave the order to begin the pursuit. One by one, the supercarriers transitioned to hyperspace, speeding after the Vgan ships. The chase. Varian reaction. Word of the unprecedented human counterattack spread ahead of the fleet. The Varian Supreme Leader was incredulous. How could the primitive Earthlings assemble such a massive armada so quickly? Long-range scans showed the human fleet would arrive at the edge of Vgan space far sooner than anyone believed possible. The dread. The Supreme Leader glared down at the unconscious human child at his feet, prodding him with a razor-sharp claw. This small, pathetic creature had caused all this trouble. By dissecting the boy and learning the secrets of the human body, the Vgans could create bioweapons to conquer Earth easily. Keed's dilemma. Keed, the young soldier guarding the child, hesitated. This didn't seem right. When he signed up to fight, he thought he would be facing enemy soldiers, not helpless kids. He looked down at Jerry, who was starting to wake up. Large, frightened eyes stared back at him. In halting Vgan, the boy pleaded, "Please, I just want to go home. Don't hurt me." The human fleet arrives. Before Keed could respond, alarms screamed throughout the station. On the view screens, Keed saw an endless sea of human warships appearing at the edge of Varian space in a blaze of Cherenkov radiation. A human face filled the screen, an older male wearing a uniform encrusted with metals. When he spoke, his voice was cold and merciless. "This is General Robert Anderson of the Earth Defense Force. You have committed an act of war by abducting our child. You have 1 hour to return him unharmed. Fail to comply, and we will wipe your species from the face of the galaxy." Supreme Leader's rage. The Supreme Leader rose from his throne, eyes blazing with fury. He would not let some presumptuous apes threaten him. He would destroy their pathetic fleet and mount this general's head on his wall. But as he studied the tactical readouts more closely, he felt icy claws of dread grip his hearts. The humans had over 800,000 capital ships, each one more powerful than anything ever seen before. Keed's choice. Internal conflict. In the labs, Keed watched silently as the scientists prepped their tools, the boy whimpering in fear on the operating table. When the first glinting instrument lowered toward Jerry's flesh, Keed knew he couldn't stand by any longer. His hand flashed to his holster. Defiance. Keed didn't know if the humans would show mercy once they attacked. He didn't know if the Vcan race deserved to survive after stooping to kidnapping children. But as a soldier, he still had his honor. He would protect this boy with his life, even if it was from his own monstrous kind. Escape begins. Keed's hand flashed to his holster, drawing his weapon in one fluid motion. The scientists froze, their instruments hovering inches from Jerry's skin. "Step away from the boy," Keed growled, his voice low and dangerous. The lead scientist snarled, baring razor-sharp teeth. "You dare interfere with the Supreme Leader's orders." Escaped. Keed didn't hesitate. He fired, the energy blast catching the scientist square in the chest. The others scattered, diving for cover. Jerry sat up, eyes wide with fear and confusion. Keed rushed to his side, slicing through the restraints with a vibra blade. "Come on, kid, we're getting out of here." Running through the station, alarms blared as Keed led Jerry through the twisting corridors of the station. Twice they encountered security patrols. Keed dispatched them efficiently, his military training kicking in. They reached a hangar bay just as the first wave of human ships burst into the system. Contact with the EDF. Through the force field, Keed saw thousands of vessels materialize in a blinding flash of Cherenkov radiation. "We need to move fast," Keed said, ushering Jerry toward a small transport. "Your people are here." As Keed prepped the ship for launch, General Anderson's face appeared on view screens throughout the station. His ultimatum echoed through the halls, sending waves of panic through the Vcan ranks. Requesting permission to dock. Keed punched the throttle, rocketing out of the hangar amid a hail of defensive fire. He weaved through the chaos of battle, watching in awe as human fighters tore through Vcan squadrons with ease. "This is Keed of the Vcan military," he broadcast on an open channel. "I have the human child, and wish to return him safely. Requesting permission to dock." The battle. Permission granted. There was a long pause. Keed held his breath, acutely aware of the targeting systems locking onto his small craft. Finally, a gruff voice responded, "Permission granted. Approach Vector 227 Mark IV. Any deviation will result in immediate termination. Arrival on the flagship." Keed followed the instructions precisely, guiding the transport into a massive hangar bay on the human flagship. As soon as they touched down, they were surrounded by heavily armed troops. General Anderson strode forward, his face a mask of barely contained fury. "Hand over the boy. Now. Surrender and explanation." Keed raised his hands and surrendered, gently nudging Jerry forward. "I'm sorry for what my people have done. This was wrong. I hope returning him can prevent further bloodshed." Jerry ran to Anderson, who knelt down and embraced the boy. "You're safe now, son. We're taking you home." Alarms blare again. As Keed was led away in restraints, Jerry called out, "Wait. He saved me. He's not like the others." Anderson's eyes narrowed, studying Keed intently. Before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. A junior officer rushed to the general's side, face pale. "Sir, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the Vcan orbital platform. They're targeting us directly." The Sunbreaker Cannon. Keed's head snapped up. The Sunbreaker Cannon. It can tear this ship apart in seconds. Anderson barked orders, coordinating an immediate evacuation as crew members scrambled. He turned to Keed. You know that station." Keed nodded. "Every deck." "The plan." "Then you're coming with us," Anderson said, his voice like steel. "We're going to shut that thing down before it can fire." Within minutes, Anderson had assembled an elite strike team. They boarded a stealth shuttle, Keed providing critical intel as they approached the massive orbital platform. The final showdown. Infiltration. "The main control room is here," Keed said, pointing to a holographic display. "But it's heavily guarded. We'll need to fight our way through." Anderson nodded grimly. "Then that's exactly what we'll do." Entering the station. The shuttle docked with the station, and the strike team poured out, weapons at the ready. Keed led the way, guiding them through service tunnels and maintenance shafts. They encountered fierce resistance. Vihin troops fought with the desperation of a species facing extinction. But the human soldiers were relentless, their advanced weaponry and armor giving them a decisive edge. Reaching the control room. As they neared the control room, Keed felt a pang of regret. These were his people he was fighting against. But one look at Anderson's determined face reminded him of the stakes. This was the only way to prevent genocide. The battle. They breached the final set of blast doors, erupting into the control room in a hail of gunfire. Keed raced to the main console, fingers flying over the alien controls. 30 seconds to firing, he shouted. Anderson joined him at the console. Can you stop it? Desperation. Keed's heart raced as he worked furiously to override the firing sequence. I'm trying, but the fail-safes. A stray shot hit the console, showering them with sparks. Keed stumbled back, clutching his wounded arm. Anderson grabbed him by the shoulders. Is there any other way to stop this thing? A last resort. Keed's eyes widened as realization struck. The power core. If we overload it, the whole station will go dark. Show me, Anderson commanded. As they sprinted toward the reactor room, Keed prayed they would make it in time. The fate of 2 species hung in the balance, and the clock was ticking down to 0. The climax. Into the reactor room. The strike team burst into the reactor room, plasma rifles blazing. Can soldiers fell left and right as the humans advanced. Keed ducked behind a console, firing his weapon with deadly accuracy. Watch your 6, he shouted, taking down a can sneaking up on a human soldier. Disabling the power core. General Anderson nodded gratefully. Nice shot. As the last defender fell, the team secured the room. Anderson strode to the main computer terminal, his face grim. All right, Keed. What are we looking at here? A horrifying discovery. Keed's fingers flew over the alien controls. His eyes widened in horror as he read the data streaming across a screen. By the moons of Can, they were experimenting on the boy, trying to create some kind of hybrid super soldier. The Supreme Leader's plan. What? Anderson leaned in, studying the diagrams and reports. Combining human and Can DNA. Those bastards. It gets worse, Keed said. The Supreme Leader plans to use this technology to create an unstoppable army. He wants to conquer the entire galaxy. Data deletion. Anderson's eyes hardened. Not if we have anything to say about it. Wipe that data. All of it. Keed nodded, initiating the deletion sequence. Suddenly, alarms blared. The doors burst open as the Supreme Leader himself stormed in, flanked by heavily armed guards. Stop them. The aftermath. Final battle. Chaos erupted. Anderson tackled the Supreme Leader, the two locked in vicious hand-to-hand combat. Around them, humans and Cans clashed in a desperate struggle. Keed fought alongside the strike team, his loyalty to their cause now unshakable. He took a hit to the shoulder, but kept fighting. A hero's sacrifice. The battle raged on, both sides taking heavy losses. Anderson and the Supreme Leader traded brutal blows, neither able to gain the upper hand. Suddenly, the Can leader saw an opening. His clawed hand plunged toward Anderson's exposed neck. No, Keed cried out, throwing himself between them. Victory. The Supreme Leader's strike caught Keed full in the chest. He collapsed, blood pooling beneath him. Anderson used the momentary distraction to launch a final desperate attack. His fist connected with the Supreme Leader's head, snapping it back with a sickening crack. The Can tyrant crumpled to the floor, dead. Surrender and peace. With their leader fallen, the remaining Cans quickly surrendered. Anderson knelt beside Keed, cradling the dying alien's head. Why? The general asked softly. Keed coughed, blue blood staining his lips. Because it was right. I'm sorry for what we've done. Please, end this conflict. Find peace. A promise. Anderson clasped Keith's hand. "I swear it. Your sacrifice won't be in vain." As Keith's eyes closed for the final time, Anderson stood, his face set with dogged determination. There was still work to be done. Aftermath. The dust settled on the orbital platform as General Anderson surveyed the aftermath. Bodies of both humans and cans littered the control room, a grim reminder of the cost of their victory. But there was no time to mourn. The real work was just beginning. Tense negotiations. Weeks passed in a blur of tense negotiations. Anderson found himself spending more time in stuffy conference rooms than on the bridge of his ship. The remaining can leaders, shaken by their defeat, seemed eager to broker peace, but whispers of dissent echoed through their ranks.